There's two things that every man needs. Same thing with women, but I'm talking to men. There's two things that every man needs. You need recognition. Every man needs to be a man. You need to be validated. You need to feel like I'm enough. And if you don't feel like you're enough, things go sideways. If you don't feel like you're enough in your marriage goes sideways. If you don't feel like you're enough as a father, you abandon your children and things go sideways. At work, at school, we need to feel like we're significant, like we matter. Number two, you need security. Like if things are out of control, if you don't have money to pay the bills, if you're in a hostile situation and you feel like there's danger to you or your family, we need significance, we need security. Chapter 6 of Matthew, Sermon on the Mount, that Jesus spoke right up there, like we just walked down there. It dealt with the two primal needs of every man, significance and security. The first part of the chapter, Jesus gives three different illustrations to make the point on significance. And he said, Scott, be careful not to do your acts of righteousness before men to be seen by them. If you do, you will get no reward from your Father who is in heaven. So, when you're giving alms, when you're giving charity to people, don't be like the hypocrites. They love to blast a trumpet to let everyone know in the synagogue and the street corners what they're giving. Don't be like them. I tell you the truth, they've received their reward in full. But when you give to the needy, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Now, I could recite the others about prayer and the others about fasting, and I could go on about sports, about work, about family, but the illustration is clear enough. Don't do what you do to be seen by other people. Why? If you do, that's all the reward you get. It's only when we do what we do in God's presence for His approval that it really matters to God. So you've got a choice to make. Do you want to be seen by people, or do you want to be honored by God? Our problem is, it's a problem for me, I don't trust God has my best interest in mind. So if I don't point out to people what a great sermon that just was, then I feel like maybe they won't notice. But you know this is always true. It's always true. The recognition that we get in the moment, and that's all there is to it. And I'm clever enough, I can do it and not even sound that braggadocious. Like, Matt, what did you think about that third point in the sermon? Was that okay? Like, I know how to make it sound like it's his idea to praise me. But my experience is, when I go out and get praise, that's all I get. He will never again praise me for that sermon. But if I just hands off, palms down, walk away, what he says to his wife, to his children, to his family, to his friends, will exponentially praise me for what I do. Look, Jesus is not telling you to be humble, shut up, and don't need any recognition. Shane, that's not realistic. As a man, you need it. The question is whether you're going to let God provide it or whether you're going to force it. The second thing he deals with is security. And we've all heard his message before, beginning in verse 18, 19. Don't store up for yourselves treasure where moth and rust destroy, where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. When we go out, and I'm not saying don't be aggressive with business. Matt, I love what you're doing with your business. I hope it gets 10 times larger than it is now. But if that's where your security is, financial security, home security, there's never a place to jump off the merry-go-round. Never. I'm at an age now, this is my own confession, where I'm starting to crunch some numbers for retirement. Jim will tell you, a Bible college salary is not overwhelming. Doug, a preacher's salary typically is not overwhelming. Now, don't feel sorry for me. I am well compensated. I live in the richest nation on the planet at the richest time in history. For me to worry about retirement is asinine. It is a lack of faith that borders on blasphemy and idolatry. And when we start arranging our schedules and our lives and our families so that we can make sure that we're protected. It is calling God a liar, because our God in this body on this mountain said, look at the lilies of the field. They don't sow or reap or store away in barns, yet your heavenly Father takes care of them. They might tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. Do not worry about tomorrow, Jesus said, for each day will have enough trouble of its own. For us to be people that follow Jesus well, it really is Matthew 6:33. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and everything else will be taken care of. I know you men strive to do that. I've seen you in your lives do that. Part of the reason that we've had such a great band of brothers. But I'm flabbergasted at the genius of Jesus in chapter 6 of the Sermon on the Mount to deal with what I need most, significance and security. If I trust him, he is everything that I need.